Starting.
Hi everyone, I'm Lori Steele, publisher of Twin City Times and Gorham Weekly, and we are here on Facebook Live, and we're going to be talking with Governor LePage this morning. We was talking to him this morning, and he said that he would like to speak with us and tell us what his thoughts are on the newest stay-at-home order that Governor Mills has done. So let's give him a call. Here we go. Hi, Governor.
Good.
It's so good to see you.
You're looking terrific.
Well, you're looking pretty good yourself.
How's business?
Really good. Yeah, I think this is going to really soar now that we got you back in.
Good. Anytime.
So, as we were talking about earlier, a lot of people are pretty upset about the stay-at-home order in Maine, and people are kind of wondering what you think about it.
Well, my thinking is rather than look at the state as a whole, we should be looking at all the counties.
Yeah.
And there should not be a stay-at-home order in at least 14 counties.
Okay.
I mean, York and Cumberland, yes. Maybe Androscoggin and Kennebec for a while because they got hit. So maybe I could say 12 should have never been stay-at-home.
Yeah.
Right now, 14 of them, Androscoggin and Kennebec, should be open.
Yep.
I think contact tracing is okay. I don't like it, but I think it's a way to get people around. I think telling the Maine people, and those that she's starting to reopen, that they got to give their personal information to the restaurants or to the grocery store or wherever they go is insane. First of all, 90 plus, as a bartender last summer, 90+%, if not almost 98% of every person who comes to the restaurant or bar pays with a credit card.
Right. I
already have the information. Just work with the establishment owners and make a deal. I mean, say if you have I would say if there's a problem, we're going to need some information. If there's no problem, I mean, I wouldn't have people collecting personal data in Piscataqua County if they've had one case and it was cured.
Right.
I mean, it's not an issue. And overall, if you look at Maine, it's 44th in the nation affected by the coronavirus, but it's number 1 in the nation for vulnerability for failure. The economic forecast, and I have it right here in front of me.
Yeah, you do.
And it says Maine is number 1, and the reason why it's number 1 vulnerable to the coronavirus is older population.
Yeah.
It's extremely dependent on small micro businesses, which have all been shut down. And of course, we depend almost exclusively at this time of the year on retail and tourism.
Right.
So if you shut down retail and tourism, and she shut down tourism by saying you have to quarantine for 14 days. Now, Lori, this is one very important thing. In 2014, I sued Nurse Hitchcock, the Ebola nurse, trying to quarantine her in a house.
Yep.
Janet Mills argued against me and won, saying that it's unconstitutional to quarantine people. Move forward 6 years, and now the shoe's on the other foot, and she's quarantining me. Now, I'm a businessman, so we think outside the box. We find ways to get things done. Yeah. One of the greatest creative things I read this morning in the newspaper. Believe it or not, I'm starting to read newspapers.
You are? Oh, I never thought that would happen again. Except mine, of course.
I picked up the local paper. I'm tired of watching cartoons. And so what I find out is the local car dealership, here in town, they are going to have the high school graduation in their parking lot. They're going to take all the cars out of the parking lot, and they're going to have 10 cars come in at a time. The student's going to get out, walk across the stage, get his diploma, get back in the car and move on. Now, what a creative way to deal with this coronavirus. It's just phenomenal.
It is.
In Florida, I was there, and what they did here in Maine, nail techs can't do nails.
Yeah.
In Florida, what Governor DeSantis said, you take a piece of plexiglass, put 2 holes in it, you sanitize the person's hands, they put their hands through, and the nail tech's on the other side doing nails.
Oh, that's a great idea.
It's just common sense.
Yeah.
The problem is our governor is a prosecutor. She spent her career putting people in jail. And so now she's imprisoned the entire state instead of asking business people for ways to fix it. Grocery store. I can't understand why the large chains can open, but all small business have to shut down. Why is Walmart, Hannaford, Lowe's, Home Depot able to open while the local little grocery stores, the local home supply places, hardware stores are all closed?
Right.
So I think she's starting now to open, but she's opening too slowly.
Yeah.
We're going to lose upwards of 40% of our restaurants and probably 30% of small businesses. I just know of 2 friends that have now already said they're not reopening. They can't. They're out of money.
Yeah.
And the federal program was good to get to put money out there and have small businesses pay their employees. That worked until the $600 came out and everybody went on unemployment because they were making more money.
Right.
Now they got to give the money back to the feds, and there's no money to buy inventory.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a restaurant and you close in January, I'm telling you, that food is gone. You're going to have to get all new inventory.
Right.
Big capital.
Yep.
So I think the commissioner of DECD said they did not anticipate the impact to business. And you know why that happened? Because they don't understand business, and they don't even like business in many cases. Otherwise, she'd be sitting with business people. Janet Mills would have that cabinet room with social distancing, people around there talking about what they would do in their industry or their business. Now, I just can't imagine what it's going to be like in a year here in Maine.
Yeah.
I'm really here, and I love this state. I was born, brought up here, educated here. I plan to be buried here in Maine, but I go to Florida winter.
Yes. Yeah.
But I won't be coming back right because being number 1 most vulnerable and being 44th with the infection, the remedy is more serious than the virus.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what a lot of people are saying. A lot of people agree with you. Yeah.
I don't understand. I truly don't understand why she, the way, I'll give you another example that they could do with restaurants. Okay?
Yeah.
Many restaurants have parking lots. Okay? So limit the number of people, let's say to 50 or 60% in the parking lot. Bring out tables in the parking lot. Let them drive up to their table. Get out, put up the table, get waited on, and then leave.
Right.
The next car comes in, they clean, sanitize the table. Another car comes in right behind there, and they can. And then if you have decks, you can put people on decks. 25% to start inside. That's not a bad idea, but I wouldn't stay there long. Maybe a week. If nothing happens and things are working smoothly and safety is a top priority, I'd go to 50%.
Yeah.
But I don't see that here. It's just like, and the other thing, I'd be working 80, 90 hours a week. I'd be studying every county individually. I'd be talking to the emergency people in those counties to get all the data. I read the paper this morning and they said from Tuesday to Thursday, they've had 25 new cases. They don't say where they're from. One person died. She was over 90 years old, which is unfortunate, but there is an end to all lives. And at 90, if I could sign up now, I'd sign the dotted line to be 90. It's unfortunate that they're not bringing people in and thinking. You know, when studying this article, at the very end, they don't say by gender, they don't say by ethnicity, they don't say by anything. They just said 25 people. They don't say which area of the state, but they make a hint at the end that it's probably Cumberland County because it's congregate housing, homeless shelters, and nursing homes. And this is another thing when we talk about nursing homes. In January 2nd, 2019, when I left and she took over, I had put in her budget, we handed her a budget that had a 20% tax decrease, income tax decrease. I had increased the reimbursement to nursing homes because the minimum wage was hurting them. Took it over. She took away the tax decrease of 20%, the income tax, and then she took away the money to nursing homes and put it in Medicaid expansion. So people that already had insurance on the exchanges were taken off and given free health care at the expense of the elderly. So when it comes to the elderly deaths in this state out of nursing homes, she owns them. Anything else?
What else is going on? What have you guys been doing?
Anne's not here yet. She gets here Sunday.
Oh, okay.
I've been here a week.
Yeah.
Got here last Saturday. And I got tested. This is the other thing about 14-day quarantine. I got my results Friday night that I was clean.
Yeah.
Saturday, we got dressed. Anne brought me to the airport. I went in, made no physical contact to anybody. In fact, my ID's in a plastic bag. I just handed them a plastic bag. You can see through it. Nobody can touch my ID. I have Lysol wipes, so the minute he gave me the bag back, I washed the outside of the bag. Yeah. The TSA officer. They did give me a pat down on my shoulder because I have an artificial shoulder. So I rolled up my sleeve and I washed myself with the Lysol.
Yeah.
Gloves on in the plane, had a mask. When I got on the plane, my seat, I washed it all down with Lysol. And it was at 6 o'clock in the morning, first flight out. So it had already been sanitized because you could smell it walking into the plane. So it's highly unlikely that I got infected on the plane. If I had had the virus, COVID-19, I got it in Maine somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just insane. We've taken all the precautions that are humanly possible to try to move ahead and move the state and the country forward. I agree with Dr. Fauci that we have to be safe. I think that there are many, many things we can do to be safe, but I think we also have to go back to work because this state is going to be, according to the Moody's rating agency, even if she gets $1 billion from the federal government, she's still going to be $1.2 billion in the hole. So, number one, she spent $800 million. She jumped into the rainy day fund, and now she got Corona and nothing to do. I mean, no money to pay for it. The unfortunate thing is if she raises taxes, would be the worst thing she could do right now. Yeah. My plan would be that when we reopen and people go back to work, they don't pay any income tax for 60 days.
That'd be nice.
And that's to get them money in their pocket so they can stop paying their rents and their bills. Yeah. And then after 60 or 90 days, it could even be 90 days, then we get back in. There might be a time, I still don't believe we need to raise taxes, because what I would do is I would tax all nonprofits except for hospitals and churches and public schools. Yeah. You know, schooling. I would not tax them, but I would tax all the land trusts in Maine. $18 billion. They haven't been paying property taxes. Right. If property taxes, that would help every community in the state. Yeah. It would certainly help Augusta. I know it would help Lewiston, and I know it would help Waterville because I know a lot about those areas. Right. So all the nonprofits that people have invested in, particularly land, is the one that really bothers me the most. Yeah. You know, that they put land in these conservation places and then they don't pay taxes. They need to help us. They need to share And we are the oldest state in America and one of the lower paid. The other thing I would do is I would freeze the minimum wage to $10 for 3 years. I would meet them halfway. They want to give 12. I would freeze it to $10 to give small businesses an opportunity to rebuild their business.
Right.
Because if they don't, many of them won't be able to reopen.
No.
Because the $10, the $12 deal is just too much. After they weren't even doing well before.
Right.
And so that's another thing I would do. I think there's some things we could do to help the economy move back much faster.
Yeah.
Right now, immediately, I would open up all elective surgeries in every hospital in the state of Maine.
Yeah.
Because we have an abundance of ventilators, we have an abundance of beds. And what we could do is we could select 1 or 2 hospitals, maybe one hospital down south, one hospital up north, and all COVID patients would go to that hospital. I would not send a COVID patient to a nursing home.
Yes.
I think New York did that. I think Maine did not pull them out immediately, which they should have. But, and I don't want to be a Monday morning quarterback, but I'm just saying, if I was in this crisis, that's how I would have handled it.
Right, right. Well, another thing that we're hearing from people that are in the medical field is that because people are staying at home, the hospital beds are like hardly anybody is getting hurt because they're staying at home. So they do have extra room in the hospitals, a significant amount more.
Yeah, and the other thing that concerns me is I was reading this morning, the vaccination of children is going way down because nobody's leaving home. Elderly people are not getting their chemotherapy. They're bypassing their appointments for chemotherapy because it's at the hospital. Oh. And so there's a lot of really social things that are going to happen here that they're not addressing in Augusta. Now, this is not about business, but it's about domestic violence. It's about suicide. It's about drugs and alcohol. And domestic violence is a critical problem. I mean, I just read earlier this week that the Supreme Court denied the appeal to that 4-year-old who was murdered in Wisconsin. I mean, those type of things that happened in 2017, she got tried, convicted, now she's trying to appeal, and the Supreme Court said, no way, you've got, everything was done properly. Those are the type of things that are going to continue to happen. And tempers get short, people get short, and Ann and we self-quarantined March 2nd, and I didn't go out. Well, I had surgery on March 2nd, I came home for a new knee, and so I rehabbed in the house. They sent a nurse in to rehab me in the house, so Ann and I were together 24/7. Yeah. So when I was able to travel, she kicked me out so she could have a week without me. That's why she's coming in a week later.
She's a trooper.
Oh, yeah.
Love that girl.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh, boy. So what else is going on?
That's about it. I mean, right now, I'm just, like I said, I'm reading everything I can get my hands on. The one thing I think, and I think they're doing this purposely, in Florida, what they were doing is giving us a report every day by counties. And they would give us gender, how many males, how many females. They would give us ethnicity, whether it's the black community, the Hispanic community, or the, Anglo-Saxon whites. It was really interesting because the county we're in, 2 million people, they only had 2 cases. You go to Miami, and it was devastating. So Miami is shut down completely. But those counties that had very little, we do social distancing and we do contact, but that's about it. I think Governor DeSantis did such a wonderful job. And guess who his DHHS commissioner is?
Who?
Mary Mayhew.
No.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
And Mary Mayhew was a lifetime Democrat until I met her.
Yes.
I
recall.
She did become a Republican.
Yeah.
She is now in Florida and doing the DHHS.
Okay, I did not know that.
Yes, she's doing a wonderful job. She's been touted by the president, by the governor. They keep, they're very, very proud of the job she's doing.
Yeah.
So if she'd been in Maine, that would have been another advantage.
Right, that would have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Just like our road. I'll give you another example. Roads. Instead of shutting down the Department of Transportation, he doubled down and he worked night and day. In Florida, they do a lot of the work at night, but with the traffic, everybody staying home, he did all the highways during the day and nights. It was incredible.
Yeah.
So they got a lot of work done. He put a lot of the crews on double time.
Yeah.
Overtime, and they had a lot of overtime. Everybody could work, and so they did not get hurt. And they got a lot of this year's projects already completed, or at least well into the season.
Yeah.
And it's only May.
Oh, great. Nice.
Because in July down there it's like 95 and humidity is unbelievable. So, and the workers are happy to do it because they're going to have longer vacation time.
Right. Nice.
Well, there's just so much that you can do, and if you sit down and think about it, talk to people, come up with great ideas. I remember Dave Bernhardt. I think Dave Bernhardt was one of the better commissioners in the country. The Federal Department of Transportation would use him as an advisor because he's an engineer by trade, and so his thing about roads and bridges was from an engineering point of view, not from a political point of view.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we've gone back to politics.
Yeah.
It was Bruce Van Note was the transportation guy for Peter Mills on the Turnpike Authority.
Oh.
So now he's commissioner. If you see what I mean. The beauty of politics. So I think Maine's going to have a hard road. I'm trying to get as much of the word out. I'm trying to get her to back down. I think she started opening up. She wasn't open. If you recall, 2 weeks ago, she hadn't planned on opening anything, and then we hit her with a lot of radio interviews. I hit her with some editorials on my Facebook page. We put stuff out there, and then a few days later, we started seeing the retail people and a lot of the business community start to get wound up. And then she said make some changes. So I think, while I don't take direct credit, I think that being back here and pushing is going to open their eyes up a little bit. Yeah. And this Dr. Shaw or whatever his name is, I'm concerned about him. I think he's way too far. You got to find the balance. In life, everything's a balance. You got to find the balance with the coronavirus and not having suicides and people going to drugs or people, getting so fed up that they leave. There's a balance. Yeah. Yeah. And Nick hasn't yet found it.
Yeah. You mentioned about the drugs and alcohol. I know you know the Roops that own Roopers. We've been there together. A friend of mine runs one of the stores, and I ran into her the other day, and she said since the coronavirus, sales have been unbelievable. It's just everybody is depressed. They're staying home. They're drinking every day. They're day drinking, and they've never seen anything like this. It's just...
The First Lady, when I met her, she probably had a drink a month. Yeah. Now she has a drink a day.
What is that exactly saying?
She said, I'm worried about myself. I have to drink every day. She's not a big drinker. Of course,
I know she's not. She's got her head on straight.
She makes a drink and the ice is long gone before she finishes it. She's a funny lady.
Yeah, she is.
So, I'm just hoping that she extended, I guess, the emergency thing to middle of June. Yeah. And the 31st is when I guess her stay at home or something happens on the 31st. I think she should move it up to Monday.
Yeah.
I think Monday, she should expedite her plan by 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because, and I think she clearly has to give away this 14-day, first of all, this 14-day quarantine is insane if somebody comes to Maine and they've already had it. Rather than quarantine them, send them to the hospital, have them tested for antibodies, and they can help people who have it. That's what they're doing in Florida. The mayor of Miami caught the virus early. He got healed. Now he's providing antibodies to people with the COVID-19 virus. That's how you address this. The other thing you could do is you can test people before they, when they get in New York, when they cross over, I would take everybody's temperature. And if they have a temperature, I'd send them to a hospital immediately. Yeah. To get tested.
Right.
Because they may have the disease. Now, unfortunately, Maine and Florida are different as far as testing. In Florida, you can get a test. I called the doctor. He said, no problem, go get tested. Here, I guess they're only reserving it to certain things, people that they think, or the vulnerable people that possibly could be seriously ill. Her efforts right now should be all hands on deck to get more testing. 1 million tests is not a big deal. And so she should really work hard to get some testing. And I think this federal money, she's got $1.2 billion. She should be able to purchase some tests with that. Yeah. At least I'd be on the horn to the president and say, hey, loosen the thing. I want to get people tested, make sure they can go back to work. And those that have had it should be able to go back to work full time. There should be no quarantine. Yeah. So there's a lot that can be done. She's just not doing it. Aroostook County, I mean, I can't get over it. Why that's quarantined. Now, the border's closed. New Brunswick have had 120, as of last week, when I got here last Saturday, they had 120 cases, no deaths, and only 20 of the 120 cases were hospitalized. And we border them. Yeah. And they're not shut down to the extent we are. They're shut down. They have their social distance. The schools are out, and that's because of Ontario and Quebec. But New Brunswick is a shining star up there on the way they're handling their population. Yeah. I think not allowing the drugs and not putting, this whole thing about not doing drug busts. I hear that she said no drug busts. Okay, fine. That's just going to kill more people. But the one that kills me is you've got people in a congregated housing environment in our prisons. We've got them. I'm certain that they didn't double the prisoners since I left in less than 2 years. And we had plenty of room at the state prison. We had plenty of room in some of our county jails. To let somebody out of prison because there's an epidemic in the jail, you're putting them out in the general population. Doesn't sound right to me. And then if somebody opens their shop too early, you're going to put them in jail. Yeah. Where's the logic there? Yeah. I mean, this gentleman in Bethel, Savage, he opened up his pub and he filled the place. Mainers were flocking there. Now, I don't know what kind of testing or social distancing or anything, but I understand that the Mainers were ready and they were ready to go, and they took his license away. Yeah. That doesn't make sense. I know. I hope she doesn't try and put him in jail. That doesn't make sense. Yeah, I know. The lady in Texas, she was jailed for opening up her shop early. The governor stepped in and got her out of jail. But the interesting thing is, within about 48 hours, she raised $500,000 for her defense.
Wow.
That just goes to tell you that the American
Right.
people are ready to get back to work.
Right. That's for sure.
And they're wanting to do it safely. Nobody wants to be cavalier. I mean, I'm not looking to cause any harm.
Right.
But at the same token, I think locking me up in a house for 14 days is crazy.
Yeah.
Especially with the amount of caution and the testing that I did, I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Now, there is some merit to being concerned about people coming up from Massachusetts. The majority of people who come up from Massachusetts are in York and Cumberland. York and Cumberland are the ones that had this more severe problem with the COVID-19, particularly Cumberland. York County, as I see now, most of it's ready to reopen because they've met the federal guidelines of no new cases and daily drops and no new cases, and so they've seen and the cases were pretty much isolated to congregate housing like homeless, nursing homes, those type of situations. So I really, really think that we're ready to move on.
Yeah. Yeah. Hope so.
I'm thinking of hightailing it to Helchier's Island on Eagle Lake in Aroostook County, where there's only 3 people.
Sounds pretty nice right now.
Yeah, although the weather has been pretty cold. Hey, I flew in Saturday and it was snowing. It was snowing.
I
That was
know.
crazy.
I couldn't believe it. Could not believe it. I opened my shade and I'm, what is that? Yeah.
Okay, you got all my thoughts.
Well, I have another question for you.
Okay, fire away.
You know what it is. What does everybody want to know?
Am I going to run against Janet Mills? Yes. I'm certainly going to run as a candidate for governor, and if I'm primaried, I'll have a primary, and then I'll go after Janet.
Okay.
I understand that she may not run. It may be Hannah Pingree, but that makes no difference. I'll go after her too because she's working for Janet and she's part of the decision making through this virus, and I don't think they've done a very good job.
Okay. Well, I think that's going to make a lot of people very happy.
Well, I hope so. I really think Maine deserves better. It needs to be safe. It needs to protect its people against the virus. But it also needs to make sure that people have food on the table. The governor made one comment, which just insulted me to no end. She said when her husband was alive, they'd sit around the dinner table and have a nice discussion about life. The thing she doesn't understand is right now, a lot of people don't have food around the dinner table.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
She needs to make sure that they're properly fed. And a lot of them aren't looking for handouts, they're just looking to go to work.
Yes. That's right.
Logging industry, farming industry. I mean, Aroostook County should be opening up for the farm now. Planting, you're on a machine. You're not 6 feet away. You could be a quarter mile away in the field against other folks. And the sad thing is going to be this. If we don't let the farmers and the loggers do their jobs this spring and this summer, right now it might be the end of mud season, so the loggers have probably been out for a while. We need to get them back in the woods. We need to get the farmers on the farms, because if they don't have a crop come September, they're going to be starving come Christmas.
Right. Yeah, good point.
So we lost them. I mean, right now, there's going to be a shortage. I meant to say this. I don't know if you've seen it up here yet, but in Florida, meat has been rationed since 1st of April.
Oh,
when you go in, you can't buy a hamburger and steak. You can only buy one or the other. You can only buy one package of chicken, one package of pork. You can't buy multiple packages of meats because of the impending meat shortage.
Oh, wow.
And so that tells me that while the fishermen have not been able to go on their boats, now's the time to send them out to go lobstering and crabbing and ground fish and try to get as much protein to shore to offset some of the meat problems that we're going to have.
Right.
And so we could be helping get the country moving instead of just sitting home and beating your wife and kids.
Good point.
Or vice versa.
Yeah.
No, I fear this domestic violence. I fear there's going to be more suicide. I know about 2 suicides already.
Wow.
Exactly because they lost their business.
Yeah. Oh.
By being 60 days out, after 60 days, they lost everything.
Wow.
Because the restaurant here in town, a very good friend of mine, he won't be able to reopen. He can't go out of work, 8 weeks out of work without no money coming in.
Right.
And because he was a self-employed, he never got any money from the state.
Oh.
And I hear that the labor commissioner, which I don't understand, should it be June before they get some money. What do you mean? You just, if there's a problem, you put people on it, you fix it. Yeah. Every person in Maine, I don't care if it's 250,000 people that are out not working, should have already gotten their checks.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people haven't received them.
There's no excuse for that.
Yeah.
That's sheer incompetence.
Yeah.
I remember in 2017 when we went from the legacy system to a brand new unemployment system, they made a fatal mistake, and I'll admit it, we made a big mistake. They turned off the legacy system and started the new system, and that's not how you do that. You should have run parallel. And so if the new one's not working, you jump back onto the old one. They didn't do that. What I did is I got a bunch of people around the table. We called people that were on the unemployment ranks, those that should have had a check. We were handwriting checks because it happened in November, and we wanted them to have money by Christmas for the Christmas season. And I remember I hadn't heard about it until a lady called me on a Saturday morning, because that's another thing that I did that this government doesn't do, is every Saturday I go to the office and talk.
I remember every Saturday you always had that. I remember.
And that's where you find out, that's where you get the pulse of what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's where you get a lot of ideas on how to run the state.
Yeah.
Some smart people out there.
There are.
A lot of smart people that can help.
Yeah. Good.
Okay?
Well, it's good to see you. Good luck. And please tell Ann I said hi.
Well.
And Lauren.
Yeah, Lauren, she's in Sanford now.
Yes. And
She's
Paul
doing
Jr.
very well.
What's that?
She's doing very well, although even she had to take a 30% cut in pay due to prices, but at least she's got a job.
Right.
Many. So I told her, good for you. You got a job. Paul's got a job. He's working from home, and he works for a hospital chain, so he's going to be pretty safe.
Is he still in Florida?
Oh yeah, he's not coming back.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
He loves Florida.
Yeah.
Despises snow and ice.
And shoveling.
Yeah, it's shoveling, yes. Okay, my dear.
Okay, good. Well, so nice to see you. Take care, and thank you for your time.
My pleasure.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.